blanket you have rolled up, well, sort of folded up really. So we want it to be, yeah, could be at that orientation, and then you can just fold it into three like that. So it's not a big roll, it's quite flat, but it's just enough that you're going to have it at the tips of the shoulder blades. So as you come down, you could maybe come on your elbows and find the base of the shoulder blades and just place the shoulder blades on the blanket or the towel. Cradle the head, and as you push into the feet, feel the towel just grab hold of the tissue around the shoulder blades so that the head comes to the floor and the top part of your shoulder blades can slide to the floor, but the bottom tips of the shoulder blades and that sort of mid upper back area is on the floor. And then you can have the arms in cactus, or if it's easier, they could be just out to the sides and they're above the blanket. And you should feel that there's a little bit of a lift around the rib cage and a bit of pressure around the upper spine. And start to let the body sink. So, and if you cradle your head, take your hands behind your head. I think actually we need to sit up and first. Try that, and then so then push into your feet, and slide that way. Slide. There you go. Until you're kind of at the tops of your shoulder blades on the floor. Oh right, yeah, yes. There, so can you feel this in? So then it should feel like you need it. That feels much more comfortable. Is that okay? Yeah. Quite strong, lifting you up. Not too bad. So you could even push into your feet and slide up a tiny bit more around the other end. So we want to feel that you're accessing that area in the upper back that can get really jammed. And with the arms out to the sides or in cactus, but cactus only if you can rest the elbows and your arms on the floor. Backs of your hands as well. And start to, as you close your eyes and release the face and the jaw, you take the breath into the chest, into the lower ribs. Feel a little bit of space there. And then your next breath from the base of the sternum all the way up to the collarbones. And then your next breath, can you take the breath into that upper back, so that area of compression where you're lying over the towel. If any of this doesn't feel comfortable, then just take the towel out. And you'll still get a chest opening with the arms in this position. So just take another couple of breaths and feel as if you're allowing the torso to release into the towel. Okay. Finding a little bit more space for your breath. And starting to steady the breath, so finding an evenness. Inhale, smooth and steady. Exhale, allowing the torso to just be a little heavier. And then on your next inhale, take the arms overhead. So feel as if the shoulder blades are being rooted down by the towel and you reach the arms back overhead. Spread the fingers wide, making the arms bright, the hands bright with energy. And breathe from the tips of the shoulder blades to the fingertips. Start to feel a bit more spaciousness through the torso. And then keeping the arms back, walk the feet, the knees together, And allow both knees to float to the left, so that right foot can lift off the floor. Doesn't matter how far you get. And see if you can take your right wrist with your left hand and just extend through that right side a little bit more. Let's take a couple of breaths then. Let's roll the knees back to the center, change the grip, hand to wrist on this left side, and the knees float to the right. See if you can feel as if you're sliding a sleeve off the arm, so you're lengthening through that left side. Take another breath, left lung. And then roll all the way over to that side so that you can just lift up. Take your blanket out, come back onto your back, hug the knees in. And just enjoy breathing into the upper back flat on the floor. Bit more space. Take a hold of the right shin and hug your right knee towards your shoulder and lengthen the left leg along the mat. You can keep your heel down on the floor, tone the toes back towards the body and firm the muscles of that left leg. So feel as if you're pressing the heel down, feel all of the muscles firm. And as you hug your right knee in, can you feel as if you're lengthening the left leg out? So we're just gonna keep hugging the right knee in. Inhale, start to lift your left foot off the floor. So as if you were going to take the toes overhead, just to your own degree. And then as you exhale, take the leg and hover the heel just above the floor. Good, so keep the belly toning. Feel as if you're lifting your sit bones away from the floor. So you're bringing maybe the belly button towards the rib cage, the pubic bone towards the belly button. So we've got a little bit of core work here, and you're controlling a steady arc of your foot as if you were going to take the toes overhead. So just take it where you feel that hamstring stretch, and then control the descent back to the floor. Great. So you can stay here. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you could just lift the head and the shoulders and reach the fingertips to the bottom of the mat. Keep the right knee bent in. Good, so if you're still hugging the right knee towards the nose and a slow, steady arc of the foot. So slow it down a little bit, Terry, make it really slow and steady. Good, should we do one more? And then hug both knees in, let the head come down, and just have a little circle of the knees. Nice, so then let's hug the left knee in. And slide the right leg along the mat. So the right heel's on the floor for this one, turning the toes back. Feel as if you're pressing the heel into the floor and feel the thigh muscles firm, even the calf muscles firm. You might even feel the buttock muscles firm. Hug your knee in a little bit more and feel as if you're lengthening that right leg out. So can you feel as if you're drawing from the pubic bone to the navel? So you turn the belly a little bit. You might feel that right heel slide up a little bit and then begin to lift it with control. And take it as far as you can, as if you were going to take the toes to the floor overhead. Some of you might be able to do that. Contortionist. Well, you never know. I don't want to make assumptions that you're all as stiff as I am. Inhaling to take it up, slow controlled movement, and try and keep some awareness in the belly. So feel as if you're lifting the sit bones away from the floor. So there's a squeeze of the hips towards the ribs. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you're still hugging your knee up towards your face, but reaching the hands, lifting the head, and just the shoulder blades. Squeeze your belly in. If that feels too much on the neck, you could always cradle the head. You're just having a little bit of control here, hugging the left knee in. Good. Should we do one more? Oh, it's quite challenging. And then hug the knees in. Well done. And let's take it into a twist. So taking both knees over to the left, spreading the hands wide. Don't worry if the top knee pops up like mine does here. Just enjoy the twist through the side of the body for another breath. Lift the feet off the floor as you hug the thighs towards the chest, coming onto your back, and then roll the knees to the other side. And take a twist here. So your gaze can go left or nose to the ceiling. See what your neck wants to do. Lovely, have one more breath here. And then roll all the way onto that side, whichever side you're on, and come onto your hands and knees. Again, spreading the hands really wide. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we'll come into child's pose. So you don't have to sit the hips all the way back here, just come into a position where you can ground the hands on the mat. And feel a little bit of stretch from the fingertips to the armpits, maybe into the upper back. And then we move with the breath. So as you inhale, start to come up into cow pose. So we look forwards, broaden the sit bones. Your exhale, push into the hands and pull the belly up away from the floor. Good, let's inhale back into cow pose. And exhale back into child's pose. So your inhale lifts you up into cow. So look forwards, broaden the sit bones. Exhale, pull the belly up into cat pose. Inhaling back into cow. Your exhale takes you back to child's pose. We'll do 2 more rounds. So inhale up, look forwards, lengthen the spine. Rounding the spine as you tuck chin and tail. Inhale, lengthen out, and sit back with your exhale. One more, inhale, lengthening, look forwards, exhaling, rounding the spine, good, lifting back into cow, and then sit the hips back. So this time as you come into child's pose, or wherever your hips want to be here, can you bring the elbows really close to the top of the head. And maybe you can press the hands together. So the fingertips are pointing to the ceiling. And as you sit the hips back, can you feel that there is a little bit of a stretch on the skin of the elbows and the upper arms? So we start to access a bit of stretch in the upper back. So if you're not feeling it, you could just try lifting a little bit, walking the elbows forwards, and then just letting the hips drop back a little bit more. If you want a little bit more, you could lift the hips a bit higher, so you're a bit more into puppy dog or heart melting pose. So see if you can relax the upper back, the chest melt towards the floor just a little bit, and see, can you feel that stretch? It might be through the upper arm into the upper back. Yeah. If you want a little bit more, walk the elbows a tiny bit further forwards and then sit back again. Can you feel the stretch coming into that upper back? Relax your head. It doesn't matter if it's on the floor or not on the floor. Nice. One more breath. Heart melting. Great. And then start to straighten the elbows, bring the hands to the floor, out in front. Lifting up the hips, tuck the toes, spine downward facing dog. And walk through the feet here. So you're stretching through the calves, the back of the knees, bending one knee, straightening the other, just walking between those two sides. See if you can keep the hips nice and high and root into your hands so the arms are strong, the hands are strong. Well done. Let's have one more breath there. And then lift up the right leg. So can you stretch both legs, straighten both legs. Push into the left foot and see if you can touch the ceiling with your right foot. That's it, straighten the left leg. Straighten it, straighten it, straighten it. Lovely, exhale, bring that down. And then lift up left leg. So it doesn't matter if maybe your foot isn't that high. Can you straighten both legs? Can you feel as if you're going to do the splits? Separate the feet as far away from each other as you can. Nice, keep that arm strong, the hands strong. And then you're going to step that left foot through to the front of your mat and drop the right knee to the floor. And if you're on a hard floor, then do protect your knee here. So let's start to come up into a lunge here and have the body directly above the back knee and the front ankle directly beneath the front knee. Did I say back? Front, I don't know. So hands on the thigh. So that you start to allow the rib cage to lift away from that front thigh and then start to draw the tailbone under. We open up through that right hip. Start to take the right arm up, so we're opening out that right side. Keep that sense of the lower belly drawing back towards the spine. Pubic bone to navel. And you could take the left hand onto the right wrist and take a little side bend here. If that helps you to feel an opening through the side body, change your bend, and so you're going to, the grip of the hands is right. To take hold of your right wrist, but you're bending to the left. So if you're there, then you should get that little bit more stretch through the tissue there. Nice. Tuck the tailbone a little bit more. Great, come back to the center. And then we'll take the hands to the floor and sit the hips back. So this is a good time to have your bricks if they're handy. I should have mentioned that. You don't have to have bricks, but what they can do is just help you to keep your chest lifted as you come into this lunge. So you're straightening the front knee to your own degree, but you want to feel as if you're hugging the front heel towards the back of your mat. And that squares the pelvis, so the back of the pelvis is in line with the bottom of your mat, and then start to lift the chest. If that's too much on your hamstring, you can relax the front foot. Otherwise, you're drawing the toes back, hugging the left hip back. Good, lifting the chest, looking forwards, breathe. Good, and just hold it in that stretch, nice. We'll take it into a twist. So if you've got a high brick here, maybe take it a little bit lower. Root the hand into the brick or onto the floor. Keep the left hip descending towards the floor and begin to revolve to the left, take the left arm up. Good, maybe hug the belly back and see if you can get a little deeper into your twist. And just again, feel as if you're wrapping the outside of your left hip down towards the floor. Descending the left sit bone, even as you take the arm up. Good, one more breath here. Bring the left hand down onto your brick, and you can start to walk the bricks forwards so that the hips descend. So we get a slightly different stretch in the back hip. Here again, you want to feel as if you're lifting up the chest. If you feel a pinching in the low back here, come out of it a little bit. Or start to really draw the tummy muscles back. As you draw the tummy muscles back, you might feel it a little bit more in that right hip. Good, start to look forwards, lift the chest. And then again, keeping the hips low, can you take the hands onto the front thigh? So we start to lift the chest a little bit more. If you feel it in your back, pull the belly in a little bit more if you need to come out of it a bit more. But we want to feel it more through this right hip flexor, maybe into the quad. Nice, can you lift the chest, take the ears back, the throat back, take the right arm up. And feel that opening stretch to the right side. Your left hand can stay on the left thigh or knee. Let's take one more breath. Well done. And then as you exhale, bring the hands to the floor. You're going to tuck the left toes, lifting up that foot, and step back into downward facing dog. And then knee, not foot. Make it more difficult if you lift the foot. Okay, so rooting into the hands, lifting the hips high, downward facing dog. If it feels good, then walk through the legs again. Finding a calf stretch and opening at the back of the knee. And then we'll lift the right foot and step the right foot forwards and drop the left knee. And we come into this 90-90 lunge. So 90 degrees back knee, 90 degrees front knee. And hugging, if you're hugging the front foot back, it squares the pelvis. So both hips pointing forwards. Nice, and then tuck the tailbone. I'm going to take the left arm up. So we don't want to feel as if that left shoulder is creeping towards the ear. It's still hugging downwards into the body, but reaching up through the side of the body, keeping the tailbone long. And if you feel steady, you could take hold of the left wrist and hinge over to the right. And keep that sense of the lower belly drawing back. So you're accessing a sense of opening through the front of that left hip. And steady the breath. Good, you can keep the sense of scissoring the feet towards each other. So we get this sense of drawing into the middle, and from there we can shine out a little bit more. Take another breath. Good, release to the center. Take your hands to the bricks if you've got them. We'll sit the hips back, straightening the front leg a little bit. So we come into this Hanumanasana prep, this preparation for splits. If you're going to go into that practice, or runner's lunge, so if it's too strong on the hamstring, you relax the foot. If you can take a little bit more stretch coming up into the sit bone, and draw the toes back, and you start to lift the chest, look forwards, and hug the right hip back. So you feel as if you're drawing the right hip back, the outer right hip wraps back. And steady the breath, lift the heart forwards. If it feels too much, relax the foot. Let's have another breath here. And we'll take it into a twist. So I'm going to take my grip a bit lower. You could be on fingertips, you can keep it high. And as you lift the right hand to the ceiling, can you feel as if you're descending the right hip? So don't let it start to swing up. Yeah, really root the right hip down, lovely. And turn, draw the belly back. Can you twist a little deeper and maybe even look to the ceiling? Take another breath. Right toes stay pointing to the ceiling or dropping to the floor. It's up to you. Trust your body. Let's have another breath. And then exhale, hands to the brick. Turn and square to the front of your mat. And then we'll start to let the hips descend. So the chest comes forwards, the hips descend, the back knee stays where it is. Good. And we really need to be aware of any compression in the lower back here. So we can prevent that by pulling the lower belly back. So not a lot happens, but you're supporting the spine. And if you need to, you just come out a little bit more. Let's have hands on the front thigh. Both hands on the front thigh. And start to feel as if you're lifting the sternum forwards a little bit. Shoulder blades draw back. So we have a back bend here. Again, notice any compression in the lower back. Pull the tummy muscles back if you can, anyway. So as you draw your lower belly back, you might feel a little bit more stretch through the hip flexor. Lift a little bit more, and let's take that left arm. Can you feel the stretch coming maybe all the way from the back knee to the fingertips? Keep this sense of tailbone long, lower belly draw up. Tailbone long, lower belly draw up. Lifting the heart. Let's have another breath here. Brilliant. And then we'll take the bricks out. Find your way to downward facing dog. So lifting the back knee, reach into the hands and stepping the feet back. Once more, walk through the feet. Find a little bit of release of tension through the hips. And a stretch through the backs of the knees. Lovely. And then we're going to descend the right knee to the floor. That's it. Then we're going to start to turn. I'm going to just change my direction so you can be easier to see. So just rooting back through the left heel there for a bit of a calf stretch. We're going to transition into gate pose. So you're going to turn your body and walk the hands round to the long edge of your mat. Your left toes are pointing forwards and the left leg is strong. So inhale, let's come back into a cat-cow motion. So you're lifting the sit bones and then pushing into the floor and rounding the spine. On the inhale, you're lifting sit bones. You'll feel a stretch and opening in the groin, the adductors. As you exhale, you're going to feel a stretch through the back. Nice, perfect, that looks great. Let's do another couple of those. And then start to walk the hands back towards your body, lifting the hands onto the hips. And keep that left leg really strong and powerful. So can you push your left foot into the floor, toes pointing forwards, lengthen tail to tailbone, take the arms up. And then left hand to the left side. And reach overhead with your right fingertips. Change hands out. Be patient with your brain. First thing in the morning. Let's have another breath. Lengthen tailbone. Super. Take the arms back up. This time, right hand's going to come onto the floor, lifting the left foot in line with the hip. Turn and look to the ceiling if you can. Great. Rooting through the heel as if you were pressing into a wall. Turn the toes back. You can stay here if you want to, or we can reach for the left foot and take it into a thigh stretch if you feel steady enough. Again, can you lengthen the tailbone, draw the lower belly up, get a little bit more stretch through the thigh. And maybe even roll the shoulders into the back of the heart, look to the ceiling. One more breath. Well done. Release the leg if you've got hold of it. Keep it strong. Nice. And then we'll bring that foot to the floor, bring the left hand to the floor. You find your way into downward facing dog. And then you're going to take your left knee to the floor, press back into the right heel for the calf stretch here. And then let the left foot slide out behind you as you walk the hands to the long edge of your mat. So your right foot stays where it is, it just grounds. So the outer edge of your right foot presses into the floor, right toes pointing forwards, good. And we'll come into cat-cow. So as you inhale, lift the hips, or broaden the sit bones as you exhale, really tuck chin, tuck tailbone. And feel the spine move. Feel each vertebra articulating against its neighbor. Smooth movement. Noticing the opening in the front of the right hip as you inhale. Exhale, pushing into the hands, even pushing into your right foot. Let's do two more. Last breath. And walk the hands back to the body, hands to the hips. Parigasana gate pose, take the arms up. Root through that right foot, right hand to right knee or thigh and reach through the left fingertips. Lovely. Can you once more just tuck the tailbone, lengthen the back of the body. And find another 2 steady breaths. Let's inhale, the arms back up, left hand to the floor, lift the right foot in line with your hip. And then feel as if you're pushing through the right foot. So the muscles of this right leg are really firm. Nice, then start to lengthen the flesh of the buttocks towards that foot. Maybe even turn towards the ceiling. Stacking the shoulders, maybe a quarter turn. If you want to, add in a thigh stretch, reach the right hand for the right foot and come into this thigh stretch. So your knee wants to stay in line with the hip. Then we work on lengthening the tailbone, scooping lower belly.
And taking it into a stronger thigh stretch. Shoulders draw into the back of the heart, maybe look to the ceiling. And steady the breath. Well done. One more breath. Release the foot. The foot comes to the floor, hand to the floor, downward facing dog. And then we'll start to walk the hands back to the feet. If you can, grab a brick as you come back into your forward fold. Just soften the knees for a moment, let the head release. Give it a little shake. And then you're going to come into a half forward fold. So here the legs firm, press into the feet, tone the belly, crown of the head lengthens forwards, hands, knees or shins. And then exhale to soften again. Grab hold of a brick and have the brick underneath your nose. So this time as you come up into your half forward fold, taking your hands onto the bricks, feel as if you're in a really strong L shape here. So your belly tones, your legs are firm, push from your hips into your feet. Right hand underneath your nose, onto the brick, take the left hand onto the hips. And roll your left shoulder blade into the heart and see if you can start to twist here. Allow the right knee to bend, and that gives you that freedom to move into a twist. Push your right hand into your brick. Now see if you can hold some of that twist as you straighten the right knee. Take the right hip back. Try that again. Soften the right knee. Turn and twist a little bit more. And then see what happens. Can you straighten the right knee and stay in your twist? Now you can choose. Leg straight, leg bent. Take the top arm up. So it might be more comfortable just to take it into a slightly freer twist with the knee bent. Or you might find that you can find a twist with your legs straight. It's a bit hard. Good. Exhale, release the hand to the brick. Calibrate your half forward fold. So legs really firm, lengthening the spine forwards. We'll take it to the other side. So right hand onto the hip, root down into that left hand, and let the left knee bend as you start to twist to the right. Good. And then just experiment. Keep the hand on the hip for now. How it feels. Can you keep twisting to the right as you straighten the left knee? You can bend it, twist deeper, see how it feels. Can you keep the torso twisted as you straighten the knee? Nice. Take the top arm up. If it feels good to do so, you can start with the knee bent and try and straighten it. If it feels better for your shoulders, keep the right hand on the hip. Lovely. Wrap your right shoulder blade into the back of the heart. Let's have another breath here. Good. And then exhale. Hands to the floor. Good. We're going to sweep the arms all the way up. Gaze up, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Well done. Come to the front of your mat. So we're adding a little bit of balance here. So can you root into your left foot, hug the right knee in, stand nice and tall. And fix your gaze on a point in front. So you're going to transition here into a thigh stretch, reaching the right hand back for the right knee. Take the left arm up. 2 breaths. Be patient. And then hug the knee in again. Release the hands up, keep that knee high. And as you exhale, you're going to bow to the floor, hands to the floor, reach your right foot back and slowly step back into a long lunge. Well done. Root into your right fingertips, turn and twist to the left. Keep that back leg strong. Lovely. Left hand down. Root into your hands, stepping back, downward facing dog. Inhale forwards into plank and then exhale lower to the belly. Good. Inhale into cobra, rooting the feet into the floor. Lovely.
Come back down and just take your right hand out to the side. So in a bit of a T-set shape here. Your left hand is just to the edge of your mat, elbow pointing to the ceiling. And start to roll onto the right side of your body. And you might even be able to take your left toes behind your right leg. The version of scorpion pose. Quite strong on the arm and the shoulder. Lovely. Have another breath here. Roll back to the center. Bring your right hand in. Stretch the left hand out. Good. So right elbow to the ceiling. Start to roll onto the left side of your body. And step the right foot to the floor. Maybe you could lift the knee towards the ceiling. Lovely. Have another breath. Well done. Roll back onto your belly. Come back into cobra. Good. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes. And come all the way up into downward facing dog. Look to the front of your mat. Let's step forwards. Inhaling, half forward fold. Exhaling, fold. Root into the feet. Sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Root into the right foot, hug your left knee in. Nice, find some balance here. Smooth transition into your thigh stretch. So fixing your gaze on a single point. Keep the breath moving. Take it into a thigh stretch. So draw your belly up, lengthen, tailbone, right arm alongside your ear. Let's have another breath here. Good. Come back to hug your knee in. Well done. Good. Firm the toes towards the ceiling. Take the arms up and you start to transition into your lunge. So bow with control. Fingertips come to the floor. Start to straighten the left leg as you bend the right knee. Nice. And we come into our lunge here. Firm the muscles of the back leg. Root through the left fingertips, take it into a twist. Swap, swap, swap. Should feel more twisty that way. Yeah. Okay, let's have another breath there. Good. Bring the right hand down. So this time you're going to step the left knee. I'll tell you what you're going to do and then you can think about how you're going to do it. You're going to step your left knee here behind your right foot and sit down. Ta-da! So we're coming into Matsyendrasana. I have a Matsyendrasana here. And if this knee is not comfortable, you straighten the leg. Yeah. And see if you can ground the foot. The other thing you can do, Andy, is just to have this foot in front of the shin. And that might help you to root your right sit back down. So it can be stepped over, but can you see there's a huge gap for me underneath my right hip. So I'm actually going to not cross that over. And then I can get my right hip to the floor. So then we take it into a twist. So wrapping left hand around right knee. Right hand comes behind, start to twist to the right. Drawing the belly in. And revolving around that central axis. Lovely. Keep the crown of the head lifting to the ceiling. And take another 2 steady breaths. And release to the center. So I give you the challenge of walking all the way around into the other side. I'll show you how you do that. But if you would like to find another way into the other side, then go ahead. So what you're going to do if you're going to try walking is to start to bring the hands left, lift the hips, keep the feet as they are, and you just pivot, keep walking the hands all the way around to the other side of your mat, and then you find the hips can come down and you swap sides. The more you do that, the easier it becomes. So I've got my legs in the right position, but my hip is too tight here in this position. So the first thing I'm going to try to adjust is just to bring my foot down
And that means that I can just about bring my left hip down. But if that wasn't working, then I would have my leg out. And actually, if I'm honest with myself, that's what I need to do this morning. And then I can really keep the spine perpendicular to the floor. That's what we want in the twist. Take the left hand behind, and you can root the elbow over the thigh if that works for your mechanics. We'll just keep hugging the knee and the thigh. And allow your body to start to draw between the pressure of the hands, one on the floor, one on your knee. Let's take another couple of breaths in the twist as we bring this round. Really hug it. There we go. Can you feel you get a little bit more twist? That's great. Take another breath. And then start to release. Both legs straight. Sit really nice and tall. So the hands either side of the hips, lifting up the spine, lifting up the chest, and just paddle the legs. Great. And then we'll slide them wide, but not to the expense of the spine. So if you find that you get them really nice and wide, but you can't sit tall, you're starting to sag, then have them a little bit narrower and you get a little bit taller. If you can keep the spine nice and long, then you can start to bring the hands forwards and let the body bow, or you can just have your hands staying either side of your hips so that you can encourage that sense of staying at the front of the sit bones and the body long. So whichever works for you. Start to let the body soften. Bring the torso up, take the hands underneath the knees to help them roll in onto your back and hug the knees in. Let the upper back begin to melt into the floor. And then float the knees to the left. And this time you can have the left hand rooting that right knee down if you need it, turning the gaze to the right if that's comfortable for your neck. Take one more, yeah. And then come through the center and all the way to the other side. Right hand rooting your left knee into your twist. Shuffle the shoulders if that helps to open the collarbones to the ceiling. And if your neck is happy to gaze to the left, go ahead and do that, but stay comfortable. Have one more breath. And then just come into Shavasana for your last moment. So lying on the floor with your legs straight, if that's comfortable for your back. With your legs bent if you prefer. Just find a position in which you can invite your body completely to let go. Softening the belly. Allowing the buttocks, the lower back to let go. Release any tension around the face and the jaw. Just let the body quieten, the mind quieten, just for this last moment of your practice this morning. If you have more time, by all means stay in Shavasana for longer. Otherwise, bring the knees in and start to find your way to seated. And everyone,